Welcome to VDEOMKR.
The podcast that cuts past the highlight reel and takes you straight into the raw behind-the-scenes stories of creatives and makers. I'm Carly, founder of The Good Vibe Media, a woman-owned and operated video production agency and a creative studio space. Every week on VDEOMKR, I sit down with filmmakers, creators, and creative entrepreneurs for a deep, honest conversation you don't typically hear. The late nights, the pivots, the breakdowns that shape the breakthroughs. These are the conversations and stories that make people like me and so many other creatives need to hear. This is a space for growth, for lessons, for community, a place where we learn from each other's real, unfiltered journeys. This is VDEOMKR. Let's get rolling. Without further ado, I am so excited to welcome our guest today is Melissa, and we are talking all about the art of interviewing.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm so excited. Thank you so much for having me. It's so fun to be interviewed.
Yeah, you're like on the other side of the mic, right?
Totally.
Yeah. So I want to give a little bio of Melissa. She has recorded in our studios really the last, how many episodes do you think you've done?
12 per season, so 24.
24,
Yeah.
which is amazing. So we've got a firsthand look at her work, but she's a leader in media, storytelling, and strategic communication. She's also the founder and CEO of Proof Publicity, which is a results-driven PR firm that helps brands turn expertise into compelling narratives and measurable growth.
That's right.
With over 20 years in public relations, Melissa has shaped national campaigns, led award-winning teams, and been featured across major media from Good Morning America to CNN to Fox and Friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a freaking powerhouse.
Tell me more.
Tell me more. Keep going. She's also the host of Off Deadline, a podcast that peels back the curtain on the media world, revealing the human moments behind the headlines.
That was really
Awesome.
I love how that sounded. Thank you.
Yeah, no, you truly are a powerhouse. And I'm really excited to talk about this topic because I think that there's many of us in this room that have podcasts ourselves. And even us starting this podcast, I think that being able to ask better questions just creates such a different dynamic in the depth of your episode, and really gives you the ability to create more of a loyal audience and listener base.
Totally.
So thank you for sharing with us.
Oh, you're so welcome. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I was really honored to be asked.
Yes,
Thanks.
I know. I mean, I'm pumped for this convo. So before we get started, let's do a little rapid fire first, so we can get to know you a little bit more, get things warmed up, and then we'll dive into all the juicy stuff.
Perfect.
Okay, so tell us what the first thing you ever made of that you were super proud of. Now, this could be something from your childhood.
Okay.
You got it. Okay.
Okay. So in fourth grade, I think it's fourth grade. Yes. I wrote a book. Remember in school, they would give us these white books that were hardcover, but it was a real book and you felt like it was a really big deal. And we had to write a tall tale in fourth grade. And I wrote one called Bigfoot Barney, and it was about why the shape of Louisiana is shaped like a boot. It was because there was this guy that I made up, obviously. And I won a lot of awards for it. I was on a stage, except I just have this memory that feels really good. And that was a pivotal moment for me, when I knew writing was in my future.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I totally can visualize that flashback. That was nostalgia flashback. Okay, what's one productivity hack that you cannot live without?
Oh, okay. Productivity hack that I cannot live without. Setting timers for everything. I will not be late. I will never be. Well, I was 7 minutes late today because of traffic, but I am not late for a meeting. So my alarms make me look like I'm crazy. It's 5:04, 3:07. To just get off a meeting in time and be on the next one on time.
Yeah, and you time block all your
time block everything. Yeah, I have work time blocked on my calendar. I protect my calendar and my time in an insane person.
Yeah. You kind of have to when you're running all the things and wearing all the hats.
Yeah.
Okay, love that. If you can give every founder one media superpower, what is it that you're choosing?
Confidence.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, period.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Period and stop. Okay, where do you feel the most creative?
in my bed. And no, that sounds really crazy, but it's like sitting propped up, like against my comfy headboard with some pillows, like with my laptop or my journal or something. Like maybe there's music, but like just a little background noise. That like energy and vibe is just like on my own is my most creative space.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's funny. Because I remember that we did another interview and they said in their bed too. So I'm like, oh, this is a common thread.
Really?
Yeah.
I just like I have a desk in my
Yeah.
in my home. I have an office that I can go to, but like the bed, if I don't have, I mean, I won't take like a Zoom call in bed because that's weird.
So yeah.
But like if I'm just writing or being creative or I, just want to like think, like that's the spot.
Yeah, for sure. You're relaxed.
Mhm.
Okay. Who is someone you would drop everything to collaborate with and why?
Oh, God, that's so hard. I mean, Oprah Winfrey.
Yeah.
Only because like there's so many people, but she is just such a freaking badass. And like what she did in the period of time she did it, like and overcame so many things. Like I just remember as a kid being so impressed with her and not understanding why. And then as an adult, obviously, like I get it. And the charisma and the energy and like her ability to get people to open up and be vulnerable, like, and I don't even know what I'd collaborate with her on, but like I would just do it.
Yeah.
I would love to hang out with her.
Yeah, which that leads into the dialogue that we're going to have about tonight because she is like the queen bee of interviewing and connecting with people and getting those
100%.
stories out, which is so good. Okay, 2 more. If your career in PR had a headline, what would it say?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Writer turns entrepreneur, crushes goals.
Crushes.
There's a comma.
Yes.
obviously.
That's awesome. Okay, beautiful. All right, what is one thing about your creative process that people would really be surprised to know about?
I come up with a lot of my best ideas on the fly. Like, so I build plans. Like, we have PR strategies and they work. Like, if you follow the process, you get results. And my team, that's how I can have a team, right? But I'm on client calls like a lot. And in the moment, I'm that annoying person. Sometimes I'm like, I have an idea, and sometimes it probably drives my team crazy. But I just like get inspired by listening to what someone is saying. It could be a problem they're having. It could be a article they read. It could be like a passing thought. And sometimes, most of the time, those are the very best ideas that get the most results.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, cool. Now, before we go into the topic that we're going to chat about today, I really want to talk about your background and give some of the backstory of how you got into PR and what the last, couple decades have looked like in your journey to get you where you are today. So tell us a little bit about when you knew like you had something going in this world of PR. Where did it all start?
Okay, so I told you I knew I would be a writer. I still am like going to write. I'm in the middle of writing like a fiction something. I'm not ready to talk about it yet, but like I love writing. And I think if you're a good PR person, you're a storyteller first. So I actually all the way through college, like high school, editor of the newspaper, like did all the writing things. And then I went to college on for magazine journalism. I went to Kent State University in Ohio from Arizona, which is like crazy. But I got a full ride. They had a great journalism school. And I thought I would be a magazine editor. I'd moved to New York. And I get there and I take my first year of classes and I have to take a intro to PR course or something like that. And I just like had this weird connection with the professor and the people, and like it just clicked so well. And a professor, Bill Sledzik, pulled me aside after the course ended. I think it was like spring semester, and he said, "I just have a feeling that you should switch your major to PR from magazine." And I mean, what's so cool is if no one has ever told you that you're good at something or like you should do something, like you have no reason to not listen to them. So I just was like, okay. I mean, in my opinion, PR was at that time creative writing and like KPIs. Like it was like both. I could like help a business grow, but I could also be really creative. And now I've learned it so much more than that, but that's kind of still what it is at the root. So I'm really glad I switched also because we all know what happened to like the journalism world, and like it's hard to make money in that space. Like I feel bad for the editors who like that's their passion. But so once I was on the path to PR, I did, I have a degree in public relations. I got offered 3 jobs out of college. Like I had a great internship in Chicago, got offered 2 jobs back here in Chicago, and I took one at an agency, and I just was working in PR from that moment. Yeah. And then like became an entrepreneur at 25, which is crazy because I knew nothing.
Yeah. Can we talk about that? Like, how did you jump into entrepreneurship at 25?
I mean, a friend convinced me. Truly, like I was working for like a really crazy boss that made my life really hard. I was like PR director for a startup, and I learned a lot, but like I also learned what I never wanted to be or work for. And I was like in the office from like 6 a.m. because I was pitching the East Coast and the West Coast until like 10 p.m. He expected this. No balance at all. And my friend Alexis, who I started my first business with, just one day was like, let's do this together. She had a marketing background. I had PR background. So we built a PR and marketing agency at 25 with like 2 clients. I mean, lying about our age, I don't even know why we thought 30 sounded better than 25. So like, and what's weird is like people, specifically men, would ask us like how old we were often. Like, who does that? Yeah. But it happened.
For sure. And we all know, so one of the things that we talk about a lot in our team and within our company culture is how every failure is an opportunity for growth.
Yes.
And I feel like I gain and learn so much, especially from entrepreneurs and anyone in this creative, business type of realm. Hearing those stories of like epic failures starting out in your career and how those failures really turn into massive momentum for growth. As I'm like speaking of this, you're nodding your head. So I feel like you have a few that you might be able to share with us. What were some of those pivotal moments for you in those failures?
So early on, I think it is, and I don't know if I would do it differently, but like you want to be everything for everyone because you're so afraid of saying no and of losing money or like losing an opportunity. And so we took on clients that we had no business taking on that were just like, can I swear?
Yeah. Oh my
Totally,
gosh.
like, just shitty people, or like something that we didn't have a passion for, or that like it was just it just wasn't going to work, right? And so a lot of learning experiences in dealing with those moments, because I am the kind of person who like I do what I say I'm gonna do all the time. So if I told you I'm gonna help you, like I'm gonna help you, even if it like kills me. So that was pivotal in like switching and honing and understanding like where we should focus. And then, we were talking kind of earlier before we started this, but I don't know if it's a failure. I guess it was. Like we bought a building in 2019, pre-pandemic. We had 40-ish people, a lot of revenue, and we had our most profitable year as a business in 2019. And the pandemic happens, and we owned a 7,000 square foot building in Midtown Phoenix. And, it was really hard. It was really hard to like, we had a great team at that time, and no one wanted to come back to work. Certainly no one wanted to come into an office anymore. So like that was really hard to learn. And that kind of started this momentum for me of like, again, I'm not going to call it a failure. It was like such a great learning experience when I realized like my heart wasn't in a business that felt like it was all about the operations and not about the client anymore. Totally. And so that led me to Create Proof.
Yes. Yeah. I love that so much.
Yeah.
I want to kind of shift gears a little bit to talk about how PR has really evolved dramatically with digital media and the influencer culture. What shifts have you embraced, and which fundamentals remain like a non-negotiable?
Oh, that's such a great question, because it totally has changed. Like the people who we call media like have changed. Like certainly we're still pitching broadcast stations and like the Wall Street Journal and the Arizona Republic, and those are traditional media. But influencers and content creators, like hosts, like they're all as important to us as well. So like learning that and figuring out how to work in that space, like even back in 2012, I would say, when it started shifting to like, remember mommy bloggers? Like when everyone said that term, like I hate that term now, I get it, but like that was a thing. So the shift started then, where it was like these people have so much influence, But it was really hard for clients to get to the point where they understood like those people were as important, if not more, than some of the traditional media. So that shift has taken time, but now I think it's pretty normalized. Also, the power of PR is still the power of PR. Like a story that's, published by a credible third-party news source that has a reputation still has weight with AI search engines. Like talk about how if you want to rank an AI, like use PR. But also just like with the world, with your customer, if you're running ads and you don't have that validation, with your stories out there, it's going to take longer to convert that customer, right? But now we can use social media, which makes those PR placements a million times more powerful. Like it's not just, you don't have to be reading like the Wall Street Journal. Now I can put it on Instagram or talk about it on TikTok or put it on LinkedIn. And suddenly the value is like a million X, so that has changed a lot.
Yeah, for sure. You can come on and sit down if you want. Welcome. Okay, let's shift gears to talk about Off Deadline. Where did the idea come from and why is this show important to you?
So the idea came like on my couch by myself one time when I was like,
bed.
yeah, I'm not in my bed. I know that's weird, right? And I just was like, I was craving because I had a podcast with my former business partner that was all about like the crazy PR and marketing stunts that brands do. And it was really fun. It wasn't a video podcast. And like just knowing where the world was moving and how video was becoming or wasn't becoming was so critical to like social media and growth. I had like an urge to do something with my new brand and I knew it was video. And when I thought about like, okay, how could I make a time investment and a money investment make sense? It all of a sudden clicked that like me interviewing media would do so many things for my brand. If you think about it, it's like, first of all, relationships with media and influencers and hosts. That's who I interviewed, just those three. They matter to me and my clients. Like I have to know them. I have to have them in my phone. I need them to respond to me. And so like me interviewing them would give me another connection point. Okay. Also, social clips of me interviewing these influential people like would get me validation with my clients and prospects and even my team, right? Like, to hire the best people and retain them, it's important. So it was like a total win-win, and I think it's like still an evolving thing that I'm figuring out like how to really maximize it and how to, just like where else to take it next. Because Arizona is one place, but like I have clients all over the country. So I'm not working in Arizona all the time. I'm working in 20 markets at any time. And so I think there's just a lot of opportunity with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've had some incredible names already, even in studio, come on your podcast. I'm curious how you prepare for a podcast interview. Like, can you peel back the curtain and give us your secret sauce and how you prepare for these interviews with these people?
Yeah, and I think this is the key. Like, and I feel like when I used to listen to podcasts where it was like an interview podcast, I would think like, they must not put in that much work to the interview part. And what I realized is maybe they don't, but like I needed to for the guest to be like, holy shit, like you know so much about me. That's a crazy spot on question. And for me to like personalize it in a way that they would feel compelled to open up. So I did a lot of research. Like, first of all, I looked for my first season and second season to invite people. I wanted a diverse group of media. So like broadcast, print, digital, radio, like, but I wanted people who had a following ideally, in most cases, but also that I needed relationships with or like already had established with. And so I found those people. And then when they said yes, I would just dive in. I would watch other interviews they did. I would read articles from like years ago. And I had I'm a psychopath. I'm like a type A psycho. So like I had a form that was like, you could pick your own question. So they really, among like 5 categories of themes, they could choose questions that they felt like, okay, I could talk to this. So they were a little in control, but I was a lot in control.
Okay, that's cool. Is there like maybe a story that you can share of something that surprised you with one of your interviews recently? Like you kind of thought the conversation, the question was going to prompt or spark something, but it was like plot twist. Like that went a direction I totally was not expecting. Can you share a story on that?
Yeah. I can't remember. The thing is, I can't remember the question I
Okay.
asked for this. There was a couple specifically like this last season. I'll talk about Kaylee O'Kelly and Javier Soto, actually, in which it's both ABC 15, which is funny, but like I had so many great ones, but they were the most recent that I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
So Kaylee O'Kelly, like, first of all, came in so, like, she's so poised, right, on TV. And she came in, like, so comfortable, put her foot up like this, was, like, just sitting so casually. And that's a great way for me to, like, understand the vibe that the interview is going to be, you know, right away. And she told me a story. I think the question was related to, like, what was a moment that you almost left the field or something like that?
Yeah.
And she told me a story about how she had an opportunity to go be a regular host on like a national show.
Mm-hmm.
And a boss here turned it down for her. And she had no idea. I know. And like, I was like, okay. And so like that led us down a whole path.
Yeah.
Of her just, and she turned it around in such a way where she was like, you know what? I thanked him years later. And but she had to go through all the self-discovery, and she like really unveiled a lot of that in the episode. And like she cried in that episode. Like it was just really great. And then Javier Soto, I did not expect when he talked about like one of the hardest things he's gone through in the career, it was this really scary moment where he thought his wife was going to die. And like the support that the news station had for him, and like the unknowns and how the connections he had because of his job helped him get the right people like to figure out what was going on. And like his love for her and like came through, and that like you have to watch it. Like it is like every man should watch that episode because it's just like he loves his wife so much.
Yeah.
You know, and those I did not think I was going to get any of that when I was interviewing media.
Totally.
You know.
Well, and you kind of have the benefit too because you're interviewing personalities that are comfortable in front of the camera, but maybe you can speak to or give some advice on if you're interviewing someone that's a little frozen and like kind of a hard shell to crack.
Yeah. I've had a few of those too.
How do you break that shell? How do you like get to that depth to be like, all right, let's like get past the surface here?
Yeah. So I've actually had a few of those with Off Deadline because I did want to mix it up, and I had a bunch of print reporters, business journal reporters, magazine editors who like they are not camera people.
Yeah.
But also I do this for clients, so I can speak to both sides because a lot of clients are not naturally like excited or enthused to be on camera. But so with like Michelle Glicksman's a good example. I love her, and so is Paul Thompson at the Business Journal. They both are great examples of people who like are so good at their job, but like I had to beg Michelle to do the interview. She was like, I'm not the one for this. Like, I can't do this. And in the moment, I think the best word I can use is like, you have to disarm them right away. So you have to like match the energy. And like, if I could see that someone's nervous, I am going to be calm. I'm going to make them feel super comfortable by like being casual, asking a bunch of questions beforehand, get them talking about something I know they are comfortable with. Yeah. Like Michelle, her daughter's an actress and a model, and I know this, and I asked a lot about that before we got started, and what's her latest thing, and she told me all about this collaboration, how she actually got to hire her daughter for a model, and it was just like a big deal, you know, and her face like lit up and her body calmed down. And I hope she's not mad at me for telling the story, but like it was great. And I think if you can disarm someone and like meet them where they are and make them feel like, you know, you're going to do great. And I promise you, I'm not going to let you look bad. I'm not going to let you sound bad. Like, let's just talk. I think that's the best way to do it. And when I talk to clients about that same thing, like I always just say, don't try to be something you're not. You know, be you. And know that like whatever answer you give is the right answer. Like you're the expert in the thing you do. Doesn't even matter like what the question is that's like asked. Like if you like answer the wrong question, who cares? You're the expert. Nobody knows. So just like enjoy.
Yeah.
And it takes time.
For sure. Yeah. Has there ever been a moment where you may be like in the middle of the conversation or the interview and there's a little tension maybe that pops up
Yeah.
where you're like, oh shit, maybe I shouldn't have asked a question that way, or like I can tell like this
Yeah.
person, you kind of ruffle some feathers a little bit.
Yeah.
Has that happened? What happened there, and how did you kind of redirect to get the conversation back on track? And I guess I should also ask too, like, have your feathers ever been ruffled where you're like, "Whoa," like I don't even know where I'm gonna go here, because I feel so
Yeah.
awkward. There's this
Yeah.
like moment of
Yeah.
tell us how
I
you
mean, it's
handled
hard
that.
to ruffle my feathers because, like,
Yeah.
I've been so ruffled at this point. Like, I don't
Yeah.
even, nothing
You got
could
thick
really.
skin.
But yes, I think like I get thrown off when I feel like, okay, so like I gave these people these questions and like I expect them to come prepared. And because I'm asking for like specific stories and examples, right? So there was a few situations when I was like, did you even fucking read the questions?
Yeah.
Like, come on, like you picked them,
Yeah.
And so I think in those moments, I try to like dive. So one trick with interviewing is like asking layered questions.
Okay.
So I ask a question, but like just because they signed up for these questions doesn't mean I'm going to ask them. Like I'm going to go a little bit deeper and I'm going to feed off their energy and like ask a second question that I know, especially if I sense that like this one topic is good for them, I'm going to like keep getting into it.
Yeah.
So I just may like ask another one or ask a follow-up or share an example. I think part of what I do in Off Deadline is it's not about me, but I do intermix specific examples and stories in short little sound bites that make them feel like, oh, she's listening. Oh, she heard that. Oh, she's lived that too. And I think that helps them kind of like be unguarded a little bit more,
Totally. If you feel like there's someone that's kind of rambling a little bit and you're
yeah.
like, okay, this is good. What are some cues or some tricks that, can help
Yeah.
steer the direction?
It is hard because that's always a sign of nerves.
Okay.
And so often I will, just like look down at my I have had cue cards with questions. So like sometimes if I really can't get them to stop, I'll like look down at my card and they kind of get the point that way. Or I will simply say, like, when I catch one little break in what they're talking about, I will ask a question that's totally unrelated, or I'll say, okay, moving on to the next question, or like, that's crazy. That's awesome. What about this?
Yeah.
And so that certainly happens. I think especially when someone's nervous.
Yes, for sure. No, I can imagine.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've dealt with that a lot.
Yeah.
Do you have like a preparation ritual that you never skip? What does that look like?
Did I have a preparation ritual?
Or something that you do like right before you start recording where it's like that's your thing?
Okay, yeah, I have a weird thing that I do. First of all,
We like weird.
I always, for some reason, get Dunkin'. I don't know why. I don't even like love Dunkin' that much, but like I got it like every single time. So I don't know. That's one thing. But I put Vaseline on my teeth.
Oh.
Because when you get dry mouth or not even nervous, it's just like you're talking a lot, your lip can stick to your teeth and it's just like not cute. Do you know? Like
I'm like, is that happening to me right now?
Yes. So like that's something I like would do usually.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna have to try that.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I think I learned that like in high school dance or something like that when they were like, keep smiling, I'm gonna threaten to put Vaseline on your teeth. And I was actually it's kind of works.
it works.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
awesome. I love
pretty
that.
much. I mean, I like to I'm so prepared when I go into an interview. So like I have my cue cards, I have my little box of stuff I would carry in here and like set up, and I just like I expect it to be like a certain way, and it's going to be a certain way.
Yeah, that's so good.
Yeah.
I love like hearing. I love your episodes for so many reasons, but I love how you're able to really pull so many stories out of people.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's when I'm listening to your episodes, it's those stories that I remember so much.
Yeah.
So how do you prompt that? How do you get them to like share those stories in such a way that like is engraved in people's mind?
Yeah. I mean, the art of great storytelling is vulnerability. Like that's what it comes down to. And so I just refuse to be surface. Like I think they can even tell from the questions that I allow them to choose from. Like they can choose pretty surface, but like it's hard, And so I am going really deep right away. And so I also find like by me leaning into that vulnerability and like with body language and with empathy and, asking another question like a level deeper, and also silence, like pausing, letting them be sad or like remember something. Like silence is so impactful. So all of those things, and I'm not afraid either to be vulnerable with them. So like I think that allows them to feel like really comfortable, and they don't remember that like it's on a video. They think it's just us. Like I saw Kaylee O'Kelly at an event last night, and she was like, "The episode was so good. I can't believe I said all those things." And I was like, I'm so glad you did.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because you really feel that's such an art that you
Yeah.
have, and the ability to make them feel like they're just in conversation with you.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah.
I've got a couple more questions, and then I'm going to open the floor for some Q&A. So if you guys have some questions, start marinating and thinking of them now, because we'll pass the mic around, so that way we can hear from the audience too. But from your perspective, and you've already touched on this a little bit, but I'm curious if something else comes up too. What separates an interview that's simply informative versus one that's really impactful and memorable?
Yeah. Well, obviously the vulnerability, like I said, but it is like deep research. So knowing your subject, doing like diving in and finding that thing that like they're shocked that you found. Like that is and also I would have those moments like for Yetta Gibson. I remember like I had a memory of her like working with her 20 years ago that I brought up. She was like, "How do you remember that?" And it wasn't like a question. It just like came up in the conversation, and she was like, "Damn, like you're good at your job," And I also like to ask, I mean, at least one crazy question, like something that they're like, "Wait, what?" Like, just like off the wall enough to get them to be like, just off their, ready in that mode to open up and say something weird. Like it could literally could be anything, but it could be like, what is your newsroom nickname? Like they're like, wait, what? Newsroom nickname? Like to what is your coffee order? I mean, that's not super off, but like they're not expecting something weird.
Yeah.
So that's always good.
Is there a crazy, like, what is the craziest question? Who did you ask it?
The craziest question I asked, let me think of who this would have been. It might have been John Jay. And I think it was like about a moment that I think it was about like getting fired from a job, or like, I wish I could remember the question. All I remember is the answer. That's the crazy part. He talked about how he actually lied to a boss to go interview for like his first real radio job. And he told a lie that his grandma was sick, and then she actually got sick, and like all this. I mean, it was like this whole thing, but he got the job. Long story short. But I just like, I think that helps them when I ask them something that prompts a memory that they're like, I haven't talked about that in forever.
Yes, because then it also captures the story that they're not like sharing on repeat all the time that people have heard.
100%.
You're again going way past the surface and getting new material that even surprises them that they're sharing. So that's awesome. That's so cool. Okay, how I need to know the answer to this because I struggle with this, but how can someone stay on message while still being present and human, especially when they're going off script? Because like even for me, it's like I've got these like questions that I'm like burning to ask you, and then sometimes I'm like, no, I want to riff and like ask more questions. So what would you say?
It's like just knowing the right moments. And I think that's a learned skill in some cases, but like if you see someone's face light up when you talk about something, or they like all of a sudden just like have a great story, how could you not riff on that? Like how could you not lean into that? And I think it's okay to still like have a time frame in which you have to like hit. Like you have your questions prepared and you still know you want to get to them. And so that's a skill too. Like I teach my clients like how to stay on message and like speak in sound bites. So sometimes I try to ask a question that would frame a sound bite that I want for social. Like it could be like, gosh, that's crazy. Like if that was like, you asked me about a headline. I was like, if you could say that in one sentence, what would it be? And like then it helps them, keep it short and sweet. But I think, yeah.
That's
I
a
think
good
that's it.
one.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I do have one final question, but before I go there, I would love to open the floor to our audience. If you guys have any questions for Melissa, we'll turn the mic over to you and share your name and who you are and what you do, so that way, if you want to be found online, you can.
Hi, I'm Samara Bat, CEO of Samara Bat the Company, and we also do public relations. But my background and major was PR, but my background is events and marketing, PR, etc. So with the non-traditional PR and social media marketing, like you mentioned, you've got podcasts, virtual TV, as well as social media. How often do you feel that it would be beneficial for a client to do press releases, to do that traditional type of PR
Yeah.
in this day and age?
So I don't, I do think it's valuable, but it's a different kind of valuable now. Like, I think that when reporters, I had a reporter once tell me, like, if they get a press release, the story's already fully baked. Like, they don't want it. It's way too late. So, like, I always pitch in pitches. I don't use press releases to, like, land a big story. But press releases are a great way to frame a story. And also, like, SEO and AIO, like, having that content on a client's website. And there is some value in PR Newswire for that validity in like the whole story. So we'll use that when it's real news. Like, we know like the difference, right? Like it's real news, but like I'm pitching not real news every day. Like, like for Liana, she's my client right back there. I just pitched something about the Olympic athlete who like totally changed her brain and like decided she loved figure skating, right? Remember, like, what's her first name? Sorry. Alyssa. Because Liana teaches people the art of like recalibration and like really shifting so that you can adopt and change your mind about something and change. And so I pitched a topic all about that, like about how Alyssa recalibrated her brain and how Liana can go on and give 3 tips on how you can do that at home. That's not news. I wouldn't write a press release about it, but it's like a good pitch topic, There's value in both, yeah.
So good. Anyone else? Oh, thank you.
So my name is Liana Habik. I'm the founder of Recalibrate AI. And I'm thinking about starting a podcast. So I was wondering if you have some tips on starting in terms of what is a good balance to start with your own content or interviews right off the...
Yeah. So I did both. That's the cool thing. Like I had a podcast before that was just my content, and then this one is now interviews. And I think you have to start with a goal, an end goal in mind. Like, what is your ultimate reason you're doing this? Is it just to have great content for social media? Or is it to get leads? Or is it to show your expertise in some way? I think when you fully understand the goal of what you're creating, it helps you narrow down like what should the focus be, because people also, I love listening to podcasts that are people just talking, that are not interviews. So I think there's like a really important balance. And also like it's okay to be super niche. Like I think people who start podcasts sometimes want to be very general and like the guests are random because like that's what Call Her Daddy does or whatever. But it's like that we're not all there, right? So like be niche for your community or who you're trying to serve. And then it's kind of easy.
Yeah, for sure. I would piggyback off of that too to say, like when we built VDEOMKR, I've always felt very, very passionate about wanting to support females in the filmmaking industry. Because when I started, it was very much male-dominated industry, and I couldn't find a lot of women to get lean on and get inspired by and really look up to in this industry. So in this VDEOMKR podcast, it was really important for me to have a series of females who film. So when talking about the niche, it's like you could have a little bit more of a general type of topic, but then have a series, like a sub series within your podcast that's super, super niche, but still falls in line in the general topic of what you're doing too.
Totally. Yeah.
That's awesome. Anyone else have a question before? No, good.
Those are great questions.
Those are great questions. Thank you. Okay, final question. This is my favorite. This is our letter to future makers. So if a young creative or an entrepreneur found this podcast 10 years from now, What is one piece of advice that you would want them to take from you?
Just like go, just do the thing. Like I sometimes make fun of myself for starting my first business at 25. I was like, I didn't know what I was doing. But it is never too late. It's never too early. It's never too late. I changed my whole life at 40. Like I got divorced. I changed my business. I did all, and I think people are probably like, this girl's crazy. She's having a midlife crisis. Like, no, I just was like, I knew what I wanted. And it's never too late to totally reinvent yourself. It's never too late to start a business. You could be 75 and never had a business and you could start one. And I think people are so afraid because someone else is already doing the thing, but that someone else is not you. You are different. And so just do it. Just do the thing.
Yeah, that's so good. Thank you.
You're
for
so
being
welcome.
with
Thank
us.
you.
Tell us how people can stay connected with you and where they can find you.
Yep. So at Melissa D Flip on Instagram, on social media, and then at Proof Publicity is my agency, and all the socials are the same. And that's pretty much where I live.
Yes, so good. Well, thank you again for sharing your time and wisdom with us today.
Thank you for having me, Carly.